Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to SATAL 2020. I am your host, Moltar. The Mustache Man will be back. World War III has left his living room, and he is going to be joining us here in just a bit as we get everything kicking off. TAW taking on Golden Crown, Diamond League Smash Fest. We are back, baby. 6v6 coming at you here in just a minute. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. That was the new Fight for Honor trailer done by Alpha Whiskey. He did a phenomenal job. We are joined by the Mustache Man, Billy Merlin. Billy, welcome back. Hopefully you're not irradiated after your so-called World War III that was going on in your living room or next door or whatever was going on.
Yeah, no, I think they're doing some renovations in the room next door to me, and it was pretty gnarly, man. I'm glad that that's all said and done. It was difficult to even work this week, so yeah, back to normal, hopefully. And
did it take a toll on you? Are you going mad?
There was a couple days where I left and went and worked at like a Starbucks and stuff for a little bit when it was like real, it seemed like they were doing the demo portion of things, but pretty good now. Good to go.
Well, that's good. That's good. So for anybody that is behind on news, Fight for Honor was the trailer you just saw. It is a 1v1 BFM competition that is going to be taking place starting September 26th. I will be joined by Mover, Gonky, some other personalities doing commentary for that event. This is the part that people have mixed feelings about. It is restricted G for this tournament. So the G limits for the aircraft are based on their NATOPS G limits in the NATOPS manuals. We've given you a buffer of 0.5 G. We recently raised the Tomcat to 7.5 with the 0.5 buffer that puts it at 8 because we were looking at the Grumman official documents with their NATOPS manual, and that's what they say. And we're going to be talking about that. I'm actually going to be doing a weekly news thing, I guess, with Beaver from number 15. We're going to be starting that tomorrow, and we'll be talking about that. So the G limit, we're going to have somebody on who is a squadron... What is he? A squadron maintenance craftsman, and he's been doing it for 17 years on 11 jets. So he knows firsthand what overgeeing an aircraft can do because he sees the aftermath of what actually happens.
He's the one who counts the rivets that get
Yeah,
dropped.
exactly. So we're going to be talking to somebody that does that. I'll be giving you guys some insight of what Gonky and Mover have said about what it takes. And I want to point out that Mover still flies fast movers. Like, he was telling me yesterday that he was in a 1v1 fight doing training in a T-38 against somebody in an F-22. And he specifically said that even in that fight against an F-22, he was still looking at his HUD because the T-38 doesn't have like a helmet-mounted sight or anything like that. He was still looking at his HUD for his airspeed, his G, and his angle of attack. So they still do this. This is not something like, oh, how would you look at your HUD and take your eyes off the bandit? Dude, get good, bro. That's what happens.
You want to keep your eye on that G just for your own sake in the fight, right? For a lot of different reasons.
Well, not only for damaging the plane, but I think people forget that staying within a certain G tolerance makes you more efficient in the fight, right? It's about getting those degrees per second and all that stuff. So people forget about a lot of this stuff, and I think people forget actually how hard it is to be a real fighter pilot. Guys, we're not real fighter pilots. I'm in an armchair in my basement pulling on a plastic joystick while these guys are up pulling real G and doing it in real life. So it is not something that is easy to do. It is not something that we should say, oh, well, they don't do it because we can't do it, dude.
Yeah, those comparisons have always been a bit ridiculous to me. I mean, we have what we have in DCS is pretty darn good at the end of the day in comparison to anything else out there. Mm-hmm. But to make the jumps to reality with it is just a bit much. And I think people get lost in the sauce with it and try to take it to that place, if you will. And it's just not. It's just not that. And I think we got to be a bit more realistic about the expectations of some of that stuff at the end of the day.
Yeah, so TFS81 does point out something good. In the real jet, they can feel the G limit, but guys, they still look at their HUD. They still look at it. So I realize that is a pitfall of flying in a sim that we can't feel it. I could say get a jet seat so you can feel the vibrations and stuff. They do help immensely. Somebody else, Pixie says Tomcat has the same G limit as the 18. Natop says 7.5, and we raised it to 8 because we want people to try and maintain 7.5, but we're giving you a buffer up to 8. So realize that the G limits in Fight for Honor, they say what they are, but realistically, we want you to be 0.5 lower so that you have that buffer so you're not going over, right? That's what that buffer is there for, because they've recognized, hey, you can't feel it. It's you're in a screen. It can be a little bit more difficult. But the Tomcat, Grumman, from stuff that Mover sent me, the official documentation from Grumman says 7.5 on a lot of their charts and stuff. So that's what they say. That's what they say. And yeah, we'll talk more about that tomorrow. We got the maintainer coming on, the maintenance craftsman, who's going to shed some light. He told me some stuff, but we're going to talk to him tomorrow night. That's going to be taking place, I think, at 7 o'clock Central, or 1 a.m. Zulu, or not 1 a.m., midnight Zulu is when that should be taking place. So make sure you tune in for that. We'll be going over attack views, all kinds of stuff going on there. And the other big news, Billy, we were talking about this earlier, we got partnership for Twitch, which is we're the first ones ever in DCS to be able to get this. So I don't know exactly what we're going to gain from it. I know you now get encoding, so everybody can choose their encoding level, which makes it a lot easier for people to watch on their phones. So you don't have to watch it 1080p 60. You can watch it 480 or whatever you want to watch on your phone. We get emotes. We get more emotes. So the more subs we get, guys, the more emotes we get. I think the next emote unlock is at like 300 subs. So gives us a reason to push for that sub goal, and any money we generate goes right back into trying to make the stream better with more cameras, more stuff like that. So we did get partnered, but emotes are the big thing. So I want to know from you guys, and you can type out in chat, and mods, if you can pay attention to what guys are saying. I want to know what emotes people want. So that's going to be things like the telephone pole. Do we want face smiles? I think Gordo's got to get his own. This is all the stuff that I want to know what the community wants, because you guys are the ones that are going to utilize these emotes, not just in this stream, but in every stream. So let me know what you guys want, because I have no idea. I'm not as in tune with this as everybody is. Saint Wag, that's a good
Oh, man.
That would be really good. I think that's a solid one. Saint Wags. Oh, that's okay. So that's definitely a solid one. Billy, can you try and write these down?
Yeah, sure.
I'd appreciate that. So Saint Wags, that's a solid one. What else? What else do we have news? 3080. You know, we started to get the benchmarks. That it's about 25 to 30% better than the 2080 Ti, which I think is pretty good.
Yeah, it's a pretty substantial
That's
number.
pretty solid, especially because the 2080 Ti was a $1,200 card, and the 3080's supposed to be $700, right, for the Founders Edition. I know they've got the special ones from the board partners. I think there was a pre-order that went up on what is it, B&H Photo Video.
Yeah,
and they were like $800. Right, so
yeah, also sounds about right for them.
Yeah, but they said that the NDA is not going to be lifted till the 16th.
Wonder why that is.
I don't know. They referenced something with
day
COVID.
Before?
I don't know.
Is it the day before the release? Or
yeah, it is.
Yeah, right. That seems strange.
But you know, it's a day before. It's enough to recognize. I think if you want to buy it or not. You know,
I think I'm going to be doing the 3080 and then upgrading my processor too. I think it's finally time to move the processor.
I think you should wait for the processor until Risen comes out. See
That's
what AMD
probably
announces
what's going to happen.
Month.
I know from 2020 I'm getting limited by my processor, and that needs to get fixed. So that's going to be part of the whole upgrade.
I'm hoping AMD doesn't destroy Intel, because I don't want to do another upgrade, and I know if it does, I'm going to. Because I've realized that I'm out of PCI Express lanes. I am actually out. I've used virtually all 40 of them for Intel.
PCI and way too hard, Moltar. You got to slow down over there, bro.
I know. It's what happens when you got 12 hard drives in your machine.
Yeah.
I know I'm not the general, what most people use their machines for. Is the 9900 still good enough? Dude, if you're playing DCS, that's solid. I'm talking about, I'm going to be running, if I get a 3090, I'm going to be running, 6 clients of DCS at the same time and streaming, because I only use one machine, because I used to use 2 machines, and I like the simplicity of having everything on one, and I'm cooking. I am utilizing everything. I mean, with 2 instances of DCS maxed out, I'm running over 30 gigs of memory, so I've got 64 gigs, but I need those extra cores. Which will be
Need
nice.
more cores, man.
Yeah.
Need more cores.
Yeah. So today's match is TAW taking on Golden Crown in a 6v6 team deathmatch. Mission location, I think, is Kobaletti versus Vaziani, and it is going to be the A weapon restriction. And I'm pretty sure, Billy, there's no AWACS.
Interesting.
So this is going to be something we really haven't seen a whole lot of. This is going to come down to the pilots really having to have a sense of where everybody is, because they don't have anyone else or any AI telling them or relaying to them a God's eye picture. Now, you do get PPLI through the Hornets and the F-16s and stuff of that nature, but there's no AWACS. So is that going to be a factor in today's matchup? What do you think, Billy? You think it's going to be a factor?
I don't know. I'm thinking maybe we're going to end up seeing, especially towards the end of things, where we get down, and this is a Diamond League match, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
6v6.
So definitely a bit more experience, a bit more guys out there, so a bit more radar cones scanning out there to create a picture. Now, they have fighter to fighter, correct? So they will be able to, if one guy picks it up, he data links it over to the other contact, right? So on and so forth. And I had noticed too in the last couple patches, they got that whatchamacallit working in the 16 better now, so it's actually showing who you're locking up and that type of stuff. So I feel like that is going to be a bit more of an important thing for those guys in this whole thing, paying attention to that type of stuff. As well as towards the end, I get the feeling we're going to see guys flying over top of each other.
Yeah,
I could see that being a thing here, just not having that data link there to tip you off to where he is early enough.
Yeah,
So
I'm wondering if I'm wondering if somebody's going to make it back behind everything. Justify says everything seemed quiet. Check your main system volume. So check your Windows volume slider and see if that's turned down at all. Because judging by the sound bars and stuff that I see in OBS, I'm right where I should be. You know, as far as volumes and when I'm talking to you guys and all that stuff, it shouldn't be too quiet. So check your main Windows volume and see if that fixes it for you. But Billy, while we jump into the sim here, I worry. One of the big things that I'm worried about is somebody getting behind everyone else and going unnoticed and really taking a toll on the opposition by getting behind and being unseen. Because if you get in behind and nobody's scanning behind, it's going to be really difficult to see where that guy is or to even know if he's there, especially if he turns his radar off.
Right. Yeah, I could easily see somebody slipping behind things, especially you know, with how much we normally see data link used here. I'm pretty sure this is the first match I've called that has been sans data link. So, you know, how much these guys practice on that whole level is another story, right? That's a big part of that, right? You really need to practice and be adapted for that type of situation. So, I guess we'll see here. We'll see how much these guys are prepared for that type of fight.
Something else to point out, we are riding along with Challenger from Golden Crown in an F-14. This is the A weapon restriction, so we are going to be seeing MK-60s, some Mark 60s coming off, the large telephone poles that have got the juice behind them that can really make those 70-mile shots happen. And if you get caught high, that's another maybe possible emote, you know, pants down or something like that. You know, somebody getting caught with their pants down, or, you know, a jet with pants falling off or something like that. Lawn darts, ninja squirrels, I think would be a solid one.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. But we've got a couple Tomcats. I see at least 2 Tomcats coming for Golden Crown. Hell Dogs in one, Challengers in the other. And I think we're going to see F-18s and F-16s coming for this side. So we've got an F-18 with Fuji, Zodiac in a F-16, and Dave in an F-16. And then we've got Spear in a J-11, Challenger in the F-14, and Helldog in the F-14. Let's take a look and jump over to TAW and see what TAW is going to be rocking or repping. TAW's actually got a 15 here.
Is that the first 15 we've seen all year?
One of the few, if not the only one.
I can't think of another one I've seen, but I've missed some matches, so.
Yeah, I don't know. But Sineg is in a 15. Darkside Rob's in a 14. Savior is in a Hornet?
Yeah.
What?
I've been seeing him in the Hornet quite a bit
but
lately,
it's just so unusual to see him in anything other than a Mirage.
Well, I can tell you he's been practicing, so
yes,
I'm
he
gonna
has.
assume with somebody to his caliber, enough practice in that thing will certainly pay off. So we were watching a couple of his tack views the other day.
Yep.
And, it's just a lot of brilliance in the way that man flies. So it's I'm curious to see what he does in that Hornet.
Yeah, so we got Savior in an 18, Alpha Row in an 18, Newbie 2 in an 18, and Red Core 6 in an 18. So not very many 16s. We usually see a bunch of 16s, but lots of Hornets and lots of Tomcats. And we also have a J-11. So I talked about last week we've seen very few FC-3 aircraft, but this week we've got 2 of them, which is highly unusual. Task Force Trident says Phoenix Task Force in their first match used F-15s. Okay. All right.
Oh, there we go. That makes sense. And now, we were discussing this the other day regarding the Hornet, but the upcoming data link overlay to the J. Hickmas and what a, you know, dominating type feature that is going to end up being for the Hornet. And we haven't really seen anything from ED on whether it's...
I don't know how I feel about that for competitive play.
Yeah, it's part of the reason I brought it up. You know, I think it's a conversation that I think needs to be had at the end of the day, you know, right? That's going to be a pretty over-the-top feature. I think most people would agree, depending on whether you have the AWACS or not. You know?
I mean, we may see a switch back from in multiplayer to AWACS-less environments, because the Hornet with that, you know, I like it and I don't like it. what I don't like about it is you're allowing the AWACS to find targets for you, not only on data link, but to, you know, you effectively are able to see through mountains, if you will, and see exactly where somebody is, which is a little concerning for competitive play. We'll just have to see how it works out. I mean,
and I believe the 16 does have a similar feature to it, right? And I think it would just be a matter of time before.
I don't know if the block version we have got
see, that's weird. We were discussing this last night, and we were struggling to come up with a conclusion on whether the 16 we have has that feature. That's another reason I want to bring this up, because I want to know if chat had a knowledge or understanding of whether the block we have will be getting that same feature.
I don't know.
Because I can see things going, you know, it always seems like the Hornet gets something, it becomes OP evolve, and then the 16 gets it, and it's fair game for everybody. So I'm curious if we end up seeing that happen with it, where, well, the 16 has it now, so it's, you know, everyone's cool with it type thing.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Chat, do you know? My initial inclination is that the F-16 that we have in the sim does not get that, but I don't know. Does it have it in BMS? But BMS is kind of an amalgamation of different blocks.
I think one of the guys in our squad, Hoodoo, was talking about it last night. In BMS, it's not data link, because I don't think data link is necessarily modeled very well. It's like a different type of, I don't remember the name of it now. I wish I could ask him quickly, but it had to do with a different form of radio that transmitted a similar type of information on that level, and it did provide that, but I do think it was a different block. So I don't know. This is where I'm kind of curious what we're getting on that from.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know which way it goes in that venue. But chat, does anybody in chat know? Because I have no idea. Quick shout outs to Dagwood for dropping the 500 bits. Thank you very much. Poiju for 100 bits. Thank you very much, brother. That's just going into the 3090 fund to be able to fund that bad boy for more cameras. So need more VRAM, need more processing power, because my 2080 Ti just is struggling. She's on the struggle bus right now. But these guys are starting to spool up. Looks like Dave is leading us off. Oh, Dave is leading us off for Golden Crown, and we are underway here in round 1. Golden Crown taking on TAW. Now, Billy, with the current aircraft selections, do you have one? Are you leaning one way or the other for how this is going to go?
Well, first I'd like to point out that the call sign Dave is pretty epic. In a world where nobody has just a single first name like that, it is. I just want to point that out because I think that's pretty awesome. You got all these crazy names, and you got Dave riding out in the lead. Pretty cool. I think the F-14 is going to play a pretty significant role here. The previous match I called saw, I think there was 4+ Tomcats in it, and it definitely was a Phoenix-heavy match. So I think we're going to see something similar here today with those airframes. I don't know. I'm curious to see what that F-15 and that J-11 do. I think that's going to be interesting. I think the no AWACS factor with those involved is also interesting. Now, does the J-11 does not have any data link, like there's no EWRs or stuff like that to provide data link for the J-11, correct?
No.
Right. So so nobody in any capacity has data link other
correct.
than peer-to-peer. Yeah.
That is correct. So there's no AWACS, there's no EWRs, so nobody has data link. It's only going to be PPLI that is going to be sharing data between aircraft, and that's something that's limited to the 18 and the 16, because I'm pretty sure the F-14 right now is not compatible with Link 16. Is that correct?
And I believe so. And we recently saw improvements to some of the Russian missiles. Is this match played on the patch that has those upgraded Russian missiles? I think it's right.
So.
Like, it's close enough. Like just based on the timelines in my head, like it seems like it'd be close enough.
I don't know. Let me look at the
kind of behind.
Let me look at the calendar and see when this match.
Interesting to know, just based upon the J-11, I believe utilizing some of that stuff, right?
I don't think it is. This match took place the week before I think that patch dropped. I think that patch dropped the 19th of August.
Yes.
And this match took place on the 15th. Okay. So don't think that's the case.
Okay, so because I just wanted to know, for our own purposes, noting, once we're watching matches with that, because I think we're all pretty familiar with how they used to perform, and I feel like we provide a pretty good venue for observing those different changes and stuff like that. So I'd be curious to see what teams end up utilizing that after the change, if you will.
Right. Somebody's up here. We're not doing betting today, Navy Doc. We're not doing it because Streamlabs bot was stealing everybody's money. He was a greedy bastard, and we don't know exactly why.
Hey, listen, Bill's got to get a 3092, boys. I was skimming the pot there. Sorry, you got to get parts somehow, right?
So
Shirt sales are low.
I shut him down for the time being. He's still doing the announcements and stuff, but we're gonna bring up another bot here. Hopefully today, later today, that we'll see for the stream tomorrow, the news stream tomorrow that we're calling Wheels Up. So hopefully he'll be available there tomorrow. But he's not there today because he's a greedy, lying bastard and stealing everybody's money. Don't know exactly why. The aerospace professional, I have no idea how to say that.
Oh, man. Man, Flint. My boy Flint would be disappointed in me for not getting this one. I'm going to give it a go.
I say I have no idea how to say it, and then he just writes it again.
Ubershot.
Ubershot.
It probably is some terrible word that we have no clue what the meaning of it is.
I'm probably saying penis in my mouth or something like that.
Yeah, who knows, but...
God! I'm trying to make this more PG, and I'm already talking about phallic objects.
Flint, if you're watching, message me what I just said.
And then Samurai comes in with...
Yes. We're off to an amazing start this morning, boys.
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well in today's stream. So, awesome. Billy, you think the F-14's going to have a role? I called that we're going to have a super sneaky somebody because there's no AWACS.
I mean, if I was a 16, I'd be maybe trying to stay low. Can you give us a view of the terrain for a second that we're going to see? I think that's a pretty important thing with the no AWACS.
So the area we are flying in is right here. So flat terrain. Everybody should be familiar with this if you're in multiplayer. It's effectively the Growling Sidewinder terrain shifted slightly south. So a little more hills, but there is a large flat area to the north. The bubble is going to encompass all of this. The bubble's going to be around 100 miles across, and it's going to encompass virtually every type of terrain. So we got high mountains, flat terrain, little bit of water, hills, flat terrain, hills, mountains. So there's virtually everything a pilot could want except water, like large expanses of water. We do have a pond, if you will, but there's no like large expanse that you're going to be able to fly over with no line of sighted objects.
And this could be interesting because I know most of these guys are on the Growling server, and this is a territory that most of these guys have fought in. I mean, anyone who goes and utilizes Growling to practice, is very familiar with this lay of the land here. So I think that could play a factor into things as well on that subconscious level where you're
quite possibly
more familiar, a bit more comfortable with it. Yeah, I don't know, man. Getting low and staying lost in the little terrain that is there might be the best interest for some of these smaller fighters like the 16.
And we'll see more of a hands-on approach to the terrain as these guys start to descend. The first pass for these guys typically, especially in Diamond League, is going to be anywhere between 30 and 40,000 feet. If we look at TAW, 31,000 feet, 31,000 feet. So these guys are flying in formation. If you hear, they're all right there. So TAW is going to be flying at 31,000 feet. What resolution you guys use? I tried one video, but it stalls every few seconds. Are you talking about the stream? What are we talking about? I'm at 1080, 60 FPS, but you should have encoding options now. So feel free to change them since we got partnership quite literally yesterday. You should have encoding options. So you should be able to select the resolution that you want the video to play at. Which means less bandwidth for you. Separation between the two teams is down to 40 miles. So if I were a Phoenix launching Tomcat, now would be about the time that
And
we should start to see those telephone poles come off.
Very tight formation from TAW, very loose. Looks like 2 pairs and a singlet, or what? Where's the 6th fighter for GC?
They're separated. Oh, for GC?
Looks like only 5.
I think somebody disconnected.
Ooh.
Who disconnected?
And then we have
the F-15 disconnected, so they're down to 5.
I saw that. Zoom out there, you see those.
Yeah, I saw that. Sineg and Darkside Rob. Yeah, I think this is what I was talking about with somebody trying to get around the back. I'm going to get rid of our face cams because missiles are starting to come off. So Fuji launches a 120, and then 3 120s come from the TAW side. But look at TAW just launching and then unsupporting those missiles.
Because they know the probability is low here. There's no point. Get reset. Get set up and back into a better position. Those mad dogs are going to end up, or pit bulls are going to, or yeah, mad dogs in this case are going to end up, dinging somebody's RWR here soon. I would assume here we should start to see these guys react to these incoming missiles in some capacity.
Let's see. So here comes Dave. Good old Dave. Starting to defend against these incoming 120s. There's the 120s, much higher than he is. Let's go to split screen so you guys can see what's going on. So here's Dave defending right here, and the missile is, holy crap, that got really, really close. It just didn't, I think it actually flew past him. It just didn't have the G, the available energy left to be able to make that final turn. That almost snuck up into the tailpipe.
Dave's not
barely
here, man.
Missed him. So those were solid shots coming from TAW. Solid shots.
Indeed. No, that whole opening formation, the way TAW is approaching this match, I really like. It's a different look, and I'm not sure GC necessarily knows how to react to this whole thing right now, or how much they've even put together is taking place in the grand scheme of things. I'm curious if we end up seeing those 2 flankers. Maybe not. I should. Poor choice of words.
Oh no, Helldog is in. Helldog's in trouble. He's got a 120 coming in him from somewhere. I think it's right there. 0.5 miles. That's gonna hit him. Boom! And Helldog gets taken down, and his plane is still. No, his plane is definitely dead.
Yeah, he
is definitely dead.
That's toast.
So let's go back to here.
Oh, they made it out.
Challenger now has a Mark 60 coming on him. Is he going to be able to get away from that Mark 60? I'm trying to keep track of everything that's going on. Fuji's got a 120 coming face on with him. Fuji, you must defend! Defend Fuji! And nothing happened.
Bro.
What did I miss there?
Did it go behind a mountain or something?
Oh, here comes another one. So there's one coming in behind him. I guess it hit a mountain, but this one's got plenty of juice. 0.5 miles, 0.4 miles, 3, 2, 1, face mile, rips his wings off. He is now a dart into the ground, and Fuji just had 2 good 120s launched on him that you guys missed because I'm terrible with the camera. But Fuji gets dominated, has 2 close 120s launched on him, and Sineg has made his way back in behind and is just causing havoc on the GC side. So let's grab Sineg.
Sineg, I don't think they even know where he is. I mean, there looks like somebody's trying to sort it out. I'm watching from the TAC view right now, and GC in trouble here. They are being circled by the Sharks at this point. 3 planes to, I believe, 6 planes at this point, and there is an absolute convoy of missiles heading their way right now. I'm losing count here. 7, 8 missiles, I think, inbound towards that cluster of GC fighters right now, and meanwhile, Sineg's just circling around waiting. I don't even know. It looks like he had several opportunities to pick somebody off and hasn't even shot yet.
Well, I think this is exactly what they're trying to do. They got a wall of missiles coming in on 3 different targets, and they are pushing them into Sineg, right? Sineg is at 26,000 feet, so here's Sineg. There goes a 120 from him. That is coming in on, I think that's on Dave.
Does he have no missiles?
Sineg's got some AIM-9s.
But what happened to all the missiles that 15 carries? Did he just not take them? What's up with that?
I don't know. But Dave's got a missile coming in on him, and he gets taken down, so Sineg gets 1 casualty. I think there was actually another one. Challenger got taken down simultaneously, and now we've got Spear, the last remaining target with an AIM-9 on him, and he gets hit. So once this started,
wow,
it ended.
That was fast and furious. That quite possibly one of the most dominating performances I've ever seen in Diamond League. That was impressive, the way they handled that whole thing.
That
there.
was complete and utter destruction from start to finish. I mean, that maneuver, I'm assuming that was intentional to force the opponents into Sineg. It was like using hunting dogs to push the prey into the hunter to end up taking him down. And that's exactly what happened. They forced him into Sineg, and Sineg it was like shooting fish in a barrel.
I'd be curious to know what GC was seeing on their radar screens with that initial formation, because they were so tight on that center group, right? Like, was GC seeing 3 contacts for a little bit there?
I don't know.
I'm curious what that looked like on the sensors there, because that had to play into that whole ruse there and getting Sineg behind them. Just be curious to know there. But that was impressive and downright scary how dominating that was.
Now, I will point out that GC did lose a contact. They did lose a guy early, so it was a 5v6.
Right.
But
that's solid point.
Looking past that fight was just shockingly one-sided. I mean, Sineg won that fight virtually on his own. I don't even know how else to say that.
What the missile situation was. To see him at that point, after watching all the missiles come from the other way, and then see that he had that little missiles left, I don't know what I missed along the way there, or whether he just didn't leave with that many. I'd be curious to see that from the TAC view.
I don't know, but let's jump to the TAC view. Let's take a look. So I'm gonna pull up the TAC view here. And guys, I apologize about missing Fuji getting taken down. You got to fire the camera operator. I'm terrible at my job. I'm terrible.
Yeah, he launches like
I am.
in a span of like 30 seconds there.
It is pretty bad.
Yeah,
okay.
They knew they had a lot of missiles and were not afraid to use them in that match, and it certainly played a factor in there. I think we'll see here.
Okay, so let's take a look and see in the TAC view what happened.
There are no AWACS, but I'm seeing 2 E3s up there. Or they disappear when that started? Is that what happened there?
I didn't see them.
Go scroll back a second. They were there.
Well, I'm looking at the TAC view. They are not here. They're at the beginning, but I think they turn them off. So there's a script in the mission where you can turn them off if you want to. So I'm pretty sure they turned them off, and there's no AWACS. So
okay.
Here's the beginning of this round. Again, this is a 5v6 because who was it? Somebody in the other both the 14s are here. Somebody for GC, I don't remember who, disconnected, and I'm going to assume it was a connection issue. But TAW is just launching all the things. And here's your answer to your missile question. Sineg double taps here early.
He puts out 6 in the span of about 30 seconds.
So here's from 32 miles, and I think they're doing this intentionally. I really think they're doing this to sow discord into the opposition here. I'm going to get rid of the background because they ended that track, or they ended early, so we're going to turn off DCS. Okay, so there go those two, and they're sowing discord. Here comes another 2, and I think one of these actually connects. Yeah, so Sineg gets a kill here on Helldog. Sineg's at 31,000 feet. Helldog is at 20,000 feet. How far is this shot? This shot is from 13 miles. That's a good shot. That's not a bad shot. Now, if Helldog defends immediately by zooming in and seeing that missile come off the rails, he's going to be doing okay. But Sineg is at Mach 1.85.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is Sineg's speed? Because it's
got
to be fast coming in the way he
Holy
just
crap!
Had to be fast. Yep, 1.8 makes sense.
1.85.
A freight train, dude.
That thing,
get away from that at that range.
That is a 120C, ladies and gentlemen. Both of those are at Mach 1 or at Mach 4.2. That's like Phoenix territory.
Yep.
Holy crap. No matter what Helldog did in that situation,
there's no getting away from that.
he was dead.
He was way ahead of that thing to be able to do that.
But well done by Sineg to put himself in that position. Now, if one of the Tomcats would have seen him, but I think if one of the Tomcats would have seen him from inside 20 miles, he would have been in a bit of trouble.
That's probably why it didn't look like he had bags for gas. It didn't look like he had a ton of missiles. He may have been cleaned up a little bit to try to get some more speed for that initial shot.
I don't know. I think he just jettisoned his bags.
Maybe he very, very well could be the case, but it looked like there was he did something to because the missile count didn't add up. I mean, what do you take? 12 AMRAAMs on that thing, right?
No, you can take 6 and 2. You could take 8 if you wanted to, but he took 6 and 2.
I thought it was 10. I thought it was 10.
No, it's 6 and 2.
It's been a while since
so
I've been in that thing.
In SATAL rules, you're limited to 6. So he took 6 and then 2
AMRAAMs. That's right.
So he goes through. Now he's in the thick of it at Mach 1.8. So no wonder Fuji, those missiles were coming at him. I thought, they're not going to have a chance. They're launched from a decent ways away. Fuji's on the deck, but he's at Mach 1.8. The missiles are coming off the rail and accelerating to Mach 4.2. There's no getting away from this.
Yeah, no, you need to be so one step ahead of that thing.
Yeah.
At that point, there's no getting away from that.
I mean, you have to notch it. You have to recognize that somebody is coming in that fast and be able to take action accordingly. So
and this
really,
is where the data link really pays off because you're used to being able to check somebody, check their speed, what they're coming at you with, and if you don't have that right away, if you're picking them up late and then getting that information too late is not. Yeah, that's going to be tough.
But look at all this, the missiles coming off of this. I'm going to call them a missile boat back here. This is just constant missile warnings. I mean, can you imagine what this looks like on their RWR? There's stuff everywhere.
About it. Put it that way.
And imagine how hard it would be to both defend this, all of these missiles coming in, and deal with somebody who's in your midst at Mach 1.5. I mean, that's a really, if this was intentional, TAW, if this was intentional, this is a really well executed game, or really well thought out game plan, and very well executed.
No, absolutely. This is probably from a strategic perspective, one of the better performances I think I've ever personally seen in a SATAL match. I mean, this was unique. I don't think we've ever seen this look before or this strategy. So, this is one for the fans out there to note, see if we ever see them try this again, or B, another team try the same tactic, because it looked incredibly effective. I'm going to guess TAW was the one that maneuvered for the no AWACS on this one, because it looked like it was absolutely part of the plan to do that. So some scary stuff out there for the teams that may have to come up against that.
Yeah.
And worth noting to prepare yourself for these type of situations.
Now, somebody asked, did GC even launch anything?
I think so. I think initially, there's one there. And then
one.
I might be a first.
One missile.
That might be a first. I don't think we've ever seen
one team
fire just one missile before.
Wow. I've never seen that. Granted, that round took from when the first person died to when the rest of the team died, it took 2 minutes.
It might be a record too, and I don't know if I've ever seen a match that short with
Sineg, I think, got 4 kills in 2 minutes.
Wow. Yeah, Comey with an unfortunate spanking. That would be the good way of putting it. But now, one thing I always bring up, what is GC, you have a little bit of time in between rounds here. You kind of have an idea of what they did. What do you do to combat that? And I'm going to be very curious to see what GC comes out and does in round 2 here to try to, counter this strategy and formation from TAW. I think that is going to be interesting to see in round 2. What does GC do?
Are they going to be able to come back from this?
Right?
That's another good point.
I mean, at this point, with who's ever cooking up strategies over at TAW, you really got to, expect the unexpected there at this point. We don't normally see a lot of innovation by these teams here, at least not traditionally. And I think that is a big step in the right direction. Hopefully we see more teams start to innovate in ways that we just saw TAW do.
Well, I have to sit here and process what just happened.
Yeah.
I mean,
to a large degree, yes.
Yeah, that was unlike anything we've really seen in any match, Gold or Diamond League. I mean, for 6 pilots to die that fast.
And only shoot one missile at the same note. I mean,
right.
They barely got. They didn't even get solution, because you would have think in the frenzy of that, if someone even picked up solution, and maybe they were trying to not kill each other in that mayhem there. That very well could have been a part of the reason why we don't see them shoot in certain situations there, because it looked like there was some angles where they may or may not have had it. But now keep in mind, no AWACS. You're only getting one method of authentication on a contact, right? So a lot of times it's ambiguous. You don't know exactly what you're looking at. Could be a friendly, may not be. And depending on how their communication was there, that's going to be very difficult stuff, where you're just basically in a fishbowl while watching missiles coming at you, and you're afraid to shoot at anything moving around you because it might be a friendly. So I think TAW coming in with the way they did there seemed to have that factored in. It really, they knew one of their guys was going to be in the back there, and I'm assuming that had to be a big part of their communication, right?
Something else that we talked about, and that needs to be considered, is when you don't have an AWACS and you're getting this many missiles launched at you, it's really hard to tell how far away the launching aircraft is, how aggressively you need to defend. So there may seem like there's some launching opportunities, but I can almost guarantee that every one of those GC guys had missile warnings all over their scope, all over their RWR. And then compound that with quite possibly the fastest moving aircraft we have ever seen in SATAL flying in amongst you. And it's like, how can I equate this? Sineg killing people like that is like an Alien movie with the alien jumping out and grabbing people and them just disappearing. Like, you don't even have time to process what is going on.
Wait, what? Where'd he go?
When the guy coming in on you is at Mach 1.8. I mean, he's almost double the speed of a typical ingressing bandit. Okay? Your typical attacking bandit, closure rate, is going to be usually around Mach 1. I usually preach, you want to be higher, Mach 1.1, 1.2. Sineg was at Mach almost 1.9. The missiles were 1 to 2 Mach faster hitting their targets than they normally would be. And if you're not used to defending that, it's not going to happen. You think you have more time than in reality you do. And I'm going to go back to my alien analogy. It's equivalent to people just disappearing. And your buddy, you see them, and then they're gone.
I think Task Force Trident brings up a good point there. This is a similar strategy to what TAW did with the Barrage last season. And I think
much more effective, I think.
I took the words out of my mouth there.
Yeah.
Extremely more effective.
Much more.
Due to the armament of the F-15, right? It's carrying more missiles, more dominant missiles at a longer range. So you can actually do more with that strategy, with that airframe. I don't know how sustainable on a fuel basis it is. I think we all can agree the Mirage is a much more fuel efficient plane, but fuel is not a factor when you dominate someone to that level and that speed.
Not.
So I think you can kind of write the fuel problem off with that whole strategy if you can conduct business as fast as TAW just did. I don't know if I've ever been as excited for a round 2 before, just to see what happens here. This is going to be good.
I want to make it perfectly clear that by no means am I saying Golden Crown did poorly. That round, what TAW did would make any team falter. Anyone in DCS, if they got confronted with that, they would have a very difficult time in overcoming that. I can almost guarantee, even if TAW got hit with that and they weren't expecting it, they would have a similar problem. So I think it was just a really well-executed plan that took GC totally off guard. So by no means am I saying GC flew poorly, firing only one missile. That game plan, executed the way it was, just caused massive amounts of problems, and it would to anybody. I can't fault GC for the problems that happened. That was just something that nobody saw coming. I have never seen as a caster. And Billy, you brought up a really good point. That's exactly what TAW has done in the past, but that was 10 times more effective using an F-15 than it was a Mirage.
Absolutely. And I think, TAW has always been one of the better strategy teams out there as far as coming in with a game plan and executing that game plan. And I think when we see them take things to this level, it gets scary. It's like, okay, well, what else could they come up with? What else is in that bag of tricks there? So I think, this should be a call to action to some of these teams to really step up the game planning and the strategy level of things if you want to try to combat teams like TAW, because you really have to fight fire with fire when dealing with that, and you need your own strategy. And this is where I often talk about the trying to make the other team play by your rules or where you want to in that match. And I think when two teams come in with different strategies, it becomes that tug of war of trying to get one team to play into the trap that they set, so on and so forth. And I think, hopefully we see GC come out in this second round with a little bit more of a laid out strategy that they can stick to combat what we saw at TAW in the first one. But it's not easy to come up with that on the fly like that. So.
That's another good point, is that coming back from this, you're at such a you're having to now overcome the strategy, but you're also having to overcome being a man down.
Right.
So, Hawaiian shirt, hey, TCS dads. Well, you're the man in the Hawaiian shirt, so I think you're a dad right there along with us, right?
I mean, I have a couple Hawaiian shirts, and I'm not a dad, but I feel
I don't own
vibes.
one, and I'm a dad. I definitely do not own one. Billy, do you have any other? What does GC need to do to have a chance? Let's say TAW comes out with the same game plan. What does GC need to do in order to possibly be able to come out and equalize this at one apiece?
They need to launch a barrage out the gate there. They need to have they need to waste a few missiles, launch a barrage out the gate, and break up TAW before TAW gets to the point where they want to shoot. We all know TAW's going to push it probably as close as they can get to that envelope to shoot, right? Although they did launch those missiles early in that first one to try to turn it around, but they need to almost expect that and be ahead of that in this round, because I think that's going to help break up that formation from TAW. You need to break that whole thing up as early as possible and not allow them to approach you in that formation and conduct things the way they did. And just, know that there's going to be an F-15 traveling at the speed of sound, shooting missiles at you.
Right.
That's also important to
right.
Kind of
what does TAW need to do? I mean, that you have to expect that GC is going to be expecting that fast-moving F-15. What does TAW need to do now in order to make sure that they are able to get the second win?
Ideally, a totally different look. Don't do what you did in that first round, and you are going to fuck with them on a level that I don't know if they'll be able to recover from. They're going to be looking for probably similar to what they saw in that first round. And if you give them a totally different look, you're gonna sow a bit more confusion, and you're going to create a window of opportunity to take advantage of. What plan they would have in place to do that at that point, I don't know. But I think just not giving them the same look on their sensors as that first one would be a very key move to combating anything GC may have come up with in between rounds there.
Sorry guys, I'm just getting things finalized for the next round.
Yeah, I'm more on the corner of, I'd like to see the different looks, coming from the football Madden side of things, right? The more different defensive looks or different configurations you can put out in front of a team that's trying to fight you, the better off I think you're going to be. The more confusion you kind of create there as far as what you're doing, right? The old run pass thing. You want to make them think you're running the ball when you're passing it at the end of the day, or vice versa. There, that's so key in the what you're trying to create as far as the image in the other team's head there.
Right. All right. So warning about this track. This track is a personal track. There were issues with trying to find the other track, so I got this personal track. However, it's not going to show the last kill, so we're going to have to revisit the last kill, I think. I haven't played the track all the way through, via TAC view. So just be aware we're going to be missing the last kill. I won't tell you where that comes from, but that is going to be missing, so just be aware that we're probably going to have to relive that through TAC view. But we're going to jump in here in just a second. I'm going to send you guys back to the Fight for Honor trailer. Be aware, Fight for Honor kicks off September 26th. Registration is open until the 25th. If you would like to register, type !FFH, and there should be details on the ED forum post that will be linked on how to register.
I believe I saw you comment that the winner gets to face off against the DARPA AI fighter, right? Or saw something along the lines of that. That's pretty amazing. I mean, it's worth entering just for an opportunity that alone. I don't think anyone in the DCS community is going to beat out the real life pilot that fought that thing, but still, I want to watch it. Right at the end of the day. So
the winner gets to take on the Alpha Series Dogfight AI Falco. So it's if you think you can one up the real Flyboys, now is your opportunity. Like, your opportunity does not get any better than this. This is your chance.
Wasn't there an indie driver or an open wheel driver that started out in the GTA? Was it Le Mans? Was it a kid who was playing GT or playing either Gran Turismo or something on the PlayStation? And then
they had a race series. Right? They had a challenge, and the winner would go get to race in Le Mans. I don't remember who it was for, but it was a big thing, and he did really well in the real car. Yeah. And he's still doing it. Like, he's an official driver now.
Right. And I think racing is much more conducive for that type of thing. It's a much more, not much more, but easier to emulate in a simulation as opposed to what we're doing here.
Well, the objective in real life isn't to kill somebody.
Yeah, right. It makes it a little easier.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I think there's some parallels there. So I'd be curious to see A, who wins that sucker, and B, how they do against that AI. I'd like to see TAW Savior against it, to be honest. If I had to pick somebody, it'd be Savior.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see how it ends up going.
Yeah.
Let me just fast forward here. It is a private track, so I've got to nurse it along to make sure we don't break anything. There we go. We went back to the map, so we should be... Oh, I'm going to jump into the cockpit here in just a second. There it goes. Let's go to the map here. Okay. So we're fast forwarding here. Trying to think if there's anything. I think TAW is going to come out and do something really similar. I don't know if it's going to be Cineg that does it, but I think they're going to come out and do something a little similar, and I think GC is going to be a bit more prepared for it. This is my prediction for what's going to happen. And guys, we're just waiting for everything to fast forward, and then I'm going to send you guys to the fan video, and we will be ready to rock and roll. But I think that everything's going to play out very similarly. GC is going to be prepared for it, and they're gonna make TAW work for this one. I think.
I get the feeling that's going to be the case. I know GC's experienced enough to be able to kind of see what somebody did and evolve their game plans. Mm-hmm. I think we see them come out with a bit better of a strategy in this one.
Mm-hmm. Quick shout outs to Bullet and who else? And Affleck for the tier 1 subs. Much appreciated, guys. Welcome to the family. Hopefully you are enjoying your stay. Shout out to Carbon Comey for the bits. I know I missed some other people. We will get those here in just a second, but I'm going to send you guys to this trailer. Fight for Honor again. Registration is open until the 25th. Event and action starts the 26th. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here in the sim. Round 2 is getting ready to take off. TAW taking on Golden Crown. TAW currently leads 1-0 over Golden Crown in an obliteration of round 1. In my opinion, totally due to game planning and execution.
Right. I would agree there. That was swift and decisive.
Swift is an understatement. That was just something we haven't seen before.
I agreed. I was sitting there watching it. When you zoomed out and I saw Sineg and I forget who is to the south, like really, I was like, okay.
Darkside Rob in the 14.
I was like, we got something different cooking here. This is gonna be good.
Something a little different, and it was different and it was done well. So let me catch up to who I missed. So Ace 5th, rated with the party of 5. Thank you very much. Puju. Oh, I got Puju and Dagwood with the bits, so there we go. I'm all caught up. We're all caught up. For anybody just joining us and does not know what this is SATAL 2020. It's a squadron air-to-air league that pits teams against one another. Billy and I do these 3 times a week, 1,500 Zulu. Gold League and Diamond League. Gold League is 4v4. Diamond League is 5v5. Everything, all the information you need is in the panels down below. And yeah, that's about it. This is TAW taking on Golden Crown, and TAW leads 1-0. I think GC's got a really hard uphill climb to be able to overcome what TAW is going to be able to put on him. So they've got to overcome the demoralizement that losing a round brings, and they have to overcome being down 1-0 right now.
Yeah, that is certainly a mountain to climb, especially with how that first match went. So I think, like I said, it's all going to be about how they what they were actually able to determine that TAW did in that first round from what they saw. Because I don't know, they can't go look at attack view in between rounds and watch what just happened.
No.
Right? They don't have that ability, so they only know what they were able to figure out from what they saw, which we could both agree may not actually be a whole lot with how that went at the end of the day. It's easy for us to sit here and we're looking at this from the perspective of the information we have, but they don't have that in the moment there. So they only really have what they saw and heard from each other to go off of to game plan for the second one. So the more I think about it, that may be a tall order based upon how much confusion was in that first round there towards the beginning of it. So I'd be curious to know what they actually knew about what TAW did in that first round. And something else I wanted to point out, you were talking before about all the content and all that stuff. If you guys aren't following the social media stuff for SATAL, there's a ton of good content that gets put out there. A lot of the different replays. I found myself, I sit here and watch these matches with you and have a pretty intimate knowledge of how they went, but I've actually found myself really enjoying those videos during midweek and kind of the lead up to the match and stuff like that. So if you guys aren't checking that stuff out, I know he plays in here, but I always find it cool to find that stuff throughout the week as I'm kind of doing my thing.
Right.
And it gets me hyped for the weekend, or for the next match at the very least. So yeah, stop by, check that stuff out. There's good content there.
Not just media content, but if you go to the SATAL website, splash1gaming.com/SATAL, you can grab all of the tack views and the tracks yourself and go through and analyze them if you want to on your own. All of that stuff's available. You just have to go to the specific match, and all of the links, or most of them, if the teams put them up like they should, will be there. So that is something that people can take advantage of as well. We're riding along with Red Core 6 and his 4 wingmen. Red Core 6 is the leader of TAW. He's got Aleph Row, Savior, and Newbie 2 back behind him, all in 18s. And then we've got the F-15 of Sineg and the F-14 of Darkside Rob, rounding out the TAW side. And then Golden Crown, I don't know if they have 6 this round. They do have 6.
Okay, so they got their fighter back from that.
Yep.
So that may be a little factor. I mean, granted, we really didn't touch enough on the fact that TAW had a single man advantage, which I don't know how much of a factor that was in the first one, but we can certainly say it was somewhat of a factor, right? One less guy to have to take care of out there, but at the same note, I don't know how much that 6th man would have really made a difference in that first round for GC.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit, but I don't know how much it really would have mattered. Sorry, I was just resyncing. The camera shake, I don't know why it's doing that. That's kind of unusual.
The camera's nervous about what's
Press
about to happen.
Shift J. Oh, thanks. I don't know why.
Alt F4 next time.
I don't know why that was on. I didn't push Shift J. Interesting. Appreciate that, Beaver.
What feature was that?
You can. There's an option for camera shake in external views. I don't know why.
Maybe want to revisit that one, Eagle Dynamics, because I don't know if you're getting the intended effect there.
Maybe.
It just looked like it just made everything difficult to watch.
Possibly seizure-inducing.
Yeah, I was getting there.
I was definitely getting there. I was about ready to lose it. Separation between the two teams is down to 60 miles. So we're starting to move into Mark 60 territory. Both these teams have F-14s, though the F-14 was virtually unaffected. I got to think of a better way to put this. It didn't really play a role in the last round. Do you think it's going to play a role in this one? It was almost like things happened too fast for the F-14 to do anything. Well, Rio was probably like, everybody keeps disappearing and I can't keep lock of somebody for long enough to make a relevant shot.
I think that was kind of what I was curious about too. Was that tight group from TAW difficult for those Rios to disseminate back there? That and look, we see that same formation shaping up again. Mm-hmm. You know, how difficult was it for those Rios to sort that center group? They probably were tracking the two planes flanking to the north and to the south pretty easily. And now we got a little bit different mix here too, because it looks like there's an F-16 trailing that initial group, which that's different from what we saw in that first one. I really think it's going to be on. Oh wait, no, this is GC. I forgot to side switch here. This is GC now.
TAW's doing the same thing. They got the lead ship and the two spreads. Now, Darkside Rob isn't nearly as far south. Maybe he recognized in round one that, hey, I'm a little bit too far away to be effective in any way, shape, or form, or any type of capacity. But Sineg again looks like they're doing the same thing, but it looks like GC is doing something to combat this type of scenario. They've got Hell Dog up here to the north. Mark 60 is going to totally deny Sineg the airspace. So the Killer Cat, I think, is going to be effective at stopping the high-flying F-15 from really doing anything in this scenario. Make sure that we're tied up. I got to pause this because it got a little bit ahead.
How fast is Sineg going to? We want to keep an eye on that speed.
That's what I'm trying to check. So Sineg is 740 knots. So he's and climbing.
And GC looks like they were ready for that initial barrage. They've turned away well before pitbull range, so it appears. And I feel like they learned a lot in that first round based upon what we're seeing right here. So I think that's going to make this match pretty interesting if they can really combat what TAW has in store for them. And it looks like they're doing that right now.
So here comes that Phoenix that I mentioned earlier that I thought was going to be coming. It's a Phoenix launched by Hell Dog. It's going 2,500 knots on a hot Sineg. Now, Sineg is probably going to be getting the missile warning here coming soon. It's passing the first shot that Sineg launched. Still at 1,800 knots. But I think Sineg, being as fast as he is going to be able to defend this pretty well. He's at 800 knots. So this missile trying to keep up with him in this turn that he's doing right now is going to have a tough time.
Right. He is doing a pretty textbook example of notching that thing and not really giving it the angle it needs to maintain.
Oh, and we actually need to pause this because we actually lost somebody. Dave died. Dave was down to the south, somewhere down here. So Dave died to a long 120.
Dave's not here, man. Dave's not here, man.
Dave's gone. Dave is gone. So Dave was down here. And I think it was to a 120, a long 120 coming from the southern group of LFRO and Red Corps 6. So unfortunate that happened, but Sineg is in a bit of a pickle here with this incoming Mark 60. The Mark 60s, well,
I think he's doing a pretty good job.
But the Mark 60's at 500 knots. It's bled all of its energy. coming in here on terminal guidance.
Very spread out. Everybody is very spread out at the moment, which is interesting in comparison to what we saw in that first round, where there was a cluster of shit going on. I think GC making a very good effort to not get bunched up like that, which is, I think, in their best interest based on TAW's strategy here.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's unpause this. So we are unpaused now. We are going to go back to the map view, and I think we're going to see things happen very, very fast. We've got a same type of situation that we had last round, where GC lost somebody early. In the previous round, it was due to a disconnect, but in this round, it was due to Dave getting taken out by a 120. So unfortunate, but it is what it is. Let's get rid of our big old talking heads so you guys can see this a little bit better. Mark 60 now coming in against Darkside Rob, and Fuji's actually in a really good position, launching on Newbie, and Newbie's getting caught at 20,000 feet. Is that going to be potentially problematic? I think it is, and Newbie may have waited a bit too long to try and get that missile off. Here comes the incoming threat 3 miles away.
Unsupport? How close was he?
Close enough, I think, for the missile to pose a threat. And
Newbie's
not going away from this. He's turning back into this incoming threat.
No.
Oh, no. Half mile, face mile, and Newbie is the first casualty, and Fuji is able to equalize this at 5 apiece remaining. Ladies and gentlemen, do not turn back into somebody that has a loaded gun pointed at your face. Best possible scenario, run away. But now Savior is coming in hot and fast against an incoming Hell Dog. So let's go to split screen and see if we can see how this is going to unfold. I think we're going to have a bunch of things happen at once. As we've got people all over the place. So we've got Hell Dog and Incursion coming down here with Savior, and we've got Sineg up here to the north. So let's grab both of these. Sineg's on the right. Savior is on the left. There goes the 120 launched from Sineg. So let's grab and go to... Oh, that's actually on Hell Dogs. So we need to go to Hell Dog's view. So this is Hell Dog's view. He launches a Phoenix. I'm going to try and keep this organized.
But he's not shooting at Fuji?
Sineg is actually launching...
Does he see Fuji?
I don't know who. But Hell Dog is going to have a hell of a time defending this incoming threat from high to low. Is he going to be able to get away from this? Half mile. Face mile. It ends up taking him down. So he gets hit.
That's tough.
But he's still up.
Zombie cat.
He is still up, and now we've got TAW Savior launching a 120 on an incoming Fuji, and that missile is going to have tons of energy by the time it reaches its intended target, because Savior launched that from inside 5 miles, and Fuji is not going to be able to get away from this one. That missile smells Fuji's exhaust fumes, and he gets taken down. And I don't want to miss anybody. Spear now has an incoming 120 on him. Let's go to his point of view. Where is that 120? Coming in on his left side. That was launched from somebody from TAW. I don't know who that was, but the guys are doing, it's a similar catastrophe to what happened in round 1. Everybody's dying.
Wow.
And I think everybody's dead, with the exception of Challenger. Hell Dog died. Gunslinger died. Everybody died at the same time. And I paused it there just to recap of what happened, but Challenger is the only one left. And I don't think I could have kept up with what just happened. Everybody died simultaneously.
Yeah, we're going to need a TAC view to extrapolate what the fuck just happened.
We are, and while I say that, Challenger has a missile already within, how close is that? Within 1.5 miles. And that missile, well, it's at 500 knots. But Challenger's the only one remaining for GC. Man, again, things just happening so fast. I blame that one on Dave for not being here and answering the door.
Is it 3? How many planes are remaining? Did they only lose 2 planes in that round for TAW?
Four aircraft remaining for TAW. I don't know who else died for TAW. Let me see if I can think about. So Darkside Rob's here, Savior's here, Sineg's here. We lost Newbie.
And Fuji.
And
was Fuji
wasn't
GC?
Fuji's GC.
Fuji's
I don't remember who else was here. We'll have to
My
check in the
apologies
TAC
there.
view. But let's unpause this. Let me make sure my cameras are good to go. Let's unpause this and see if we're able to see Challenger. I don't know if the track ends here because this track came from somebody that died. So we're going to see if we can see Challenger and see how this goes. If it doesn't, we'll relive it in TAC view. But here we go.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Let's grab Darkside Rob's point of view in the Christmas Cat. And Darkside Rob is within 10 miles, and there goes the Mark 60. And Challenger is defending at Weeds level. So let me see if I can grab that. Oh, track ended. Damn. But man, again with the round. TAW turning everybody into wingless darts very quickly.
It might be one of the best performances I think we've ever seen out of a team in SATAL right there. At least the most commanding or dominating performance I think I've ever witnessed. And that's not knocking GC. GC is a very good team. I think that just speaks more to what we saw there, right? So I don't want to, and you touched on this before, but I don't want to think we're sitting here bashing GC because we're not.
No.
Those guys are good pilots. We fly for those that fly PvP in the public arena. You see those guys all the time. They kill us. They're very good pilots. So I think that really does speak volumes to what we just saw at TAW there. So,
here's Dave's death. Dave, no! Dave gets taken down. He's at 26,000 feet. He just defends late, and he's way too slow. Dave's at 0.75 Mach with an incoming missile that's at Mach 2.3. He's not fast enough to get the missile to really do anything that's going to bleed all of its energy. Shout out to Carbon for dropping 50 more bits. Thank you very much, brother. Much appreciated. Goes straight into the war chest of hopefully improving cameras later on. But Dave he gets caught with his pants down. And you get caught like that, you don't have time to build up enough energy to be able to do anything against an incoming threat. So well done by TAW to put those early missiles out. And, you know, if you don't shoot them, you don't have the chance of making anything happen. So they utilize those missiles even though recognizing that something's probably not going to happen. But, hey, they get an early kill and Dave goes down. So that's what happened to Dave. Then carrying on, our next casualty is going to be, I think it's Fuji. Yeah, Fuji. No, it's not Fuji. Who is it?
look at the mess.
Yeah, there's just stuff everywhere.
You zoom out for a second, just show. Look, I mean, you don't rarely see a cluster.
No.
This many planes, this many missiles, all out at one time. I mean, it's pretty remarkable at the end.
Who died next?
And now, can we extrapolate? Some of this is just due to the no GCI or no AWACS,
I think
right?
it was. I really think
do
it
feel
was.
like that played a big part here because the confusion that sows is just, especially now in today's DCS with the IFF the way it is and how many of these planes are so reliant on that AWACS for IFF purposes that when you get put into this environment and you cannot quickly IFF or identify who you're about to shoot at, and the stakes are as high as they are as far as team killing somebody, it makes a very difficult situation.
Well, I think too that
ready to go for that.
It greatly increases your time to sort, and if you're not used to flying in a match or in an arena that doesn't have AWACS and you are having an over reliance on data link, your time to target or your time to sort is going to be greatly increased exponentially. And TAW, I think, just showcased that they're used to flying in an environment like this.
Right.
So their scanning ability and finding targets is going to be much more effective. Plus, I think they're flying airframes that are much better suited for this. They have 4 18s, so the ability for the 18 to share targets via PPLI it's a force multiplier.
Right.
And they took aircraft that are going to be effective in an environment like this. This was
No doubt.
I think Fuji recommits into one of these. Yeah, it's this one right there. So Fuji defends this, but I don't know what happened. Well, I do know what happened. I'm pretty sure I do. When you defend like this and your plane's spinning, a lot of times the missile will go out of your RWR cone and you won't get the missile warning. And you'll be like, hey, I'm cool, I'm clean, the missile passed me. When in reality, you've just moved the missile into a blind spot for your aircraft. And you you end up getting taken down. Beaver says, except that the only other planes that can benefit from that are other 18s. Yeah, but TAW has 4 18s, right? So the very fact that they have 4 18s benefiting from that, I think, is huge.
They were creating a very good picture, SANS and AWACS on data, still having data link. Data link was still a factor in this. It was just not as supplemented by AWACS as it normally is, right? So you're still getting SA, you're still seeing contact. Excuse me, that your radar is not necessarily seeing, and you can adjust and track to, right? But at the same note, that the lack of the IFF too also creates a big problem there, and that's why it's very important, I think, for whatever side to be communicating very effectively to make sure you're not shooting each other out of the sky there.
Yeah. So here's our next casualty. It's Spear, and it looks like he tries to commit to the notch, but then comes out of the notch. Don't do this, guys. If you commit to the notch, you got to stick with it, right? If you commit to the notch and then break out of it, you've expended energy. You've put yourself in a situation where you're no longer egressing away from an incoming threat, and you're just giving away all of your benefits that you have coming into the fight. So he commits to the notch, then decides, I'm going to get out of here, and decides to get out, breaks the notch. The 120 is like, I see you, and comes in and hits Spear. But it actually looks like Spear survives that one, but Alefro puts another one on him, and it takes him down anyway. Somebody, I think, died. Did Savior die? I only see 4 guys. No, there's 5. Never mind. I think Alefro is the next casualty. He comes in here and gets taken out by Gunslinger, but Gunslinger simultaneously gets taken out by an AIM 54. Boop! So Alefro, even though he dies, gets immediately avenged by Darkside Rob from the other side of the map.
Oh, man.
Well, not the other side, but like 20 miles away. How far away is that? 15 miles. So that's a very deadly Mark 60. So, Alefro dies, but he made it work. And then Challenger is left all on his own. Is that Mark 60 that was launched by Darkside Rob going to be effective? Where is it even? I don't even see that Mark 60 come off. Huh. So Red Core 6 is actually the one that takes him down. And when you're 1v4, there's not much you're going to be able to do.
No, that's tough right there.
That's it. That is it.
Well, folks, a match to remember here. I think this should be one everyone keeps in the back of their head for purposes down the road if we see teams pull this similar strategy. And especially, I'll be curious to compare the next match we see with no AWACS back to this match. I think that'll be a very good comparison at the end of the day. But we saw some pretty smooth flying today from TAW and even from GC in certain situations. So I think today was definitely, although it wasn't the most competitive of matches, it's still probably entertaining on that same level. So
yeah, I think it was a competitive match, but TAW's game planning and execution just swung it heavily in their favor.
Top notch there.
That was really, really well done. Quick shout outs to Xander Draft for gifting 2 subs, 1 to 93 FS Beaver and Mr. E009. Thank you very much, brother. And then 104th Bullet drops 104 bits and says, congrats on partner. Thank you very much, brother. So it's nice that it finally happened. I just got a random email and, it happened. So we got emotes we need to do. We got encoding options. It's nice to have. So I'm going to try and rebrand the stream in a way. I think it's time to do a rebranding, time to do some changes for backgrounds and stuff, get some bits, get a new logo again, and make some things happen. So that's in the works, and we're gonna see where that goes. But next match is going to be taking place Tuesday, and it is going to be, who's that match gonna be? Internet is slow.
And I got the construction starting back up next door, so we worked out perfectly today, time and wise.
I thought you said they were gone.
I thought they were too. They weren't here all day yesterday. They must take the fucking day off work on a Saturday, but that's my luck, right?
Yeah.
And they even work until 9 at night. I had to go over there the other night and say something. It's like, dude, it's 9:30 at night. You're hammering and knocking like it's an active construction zone, bro. Like, take it easy.
So next match is going to be Tuesday, Outer Haven taking on TAW Wolfpack. Thursday, Grim Reapers against Phoenix Task Force. And then Saturday, ECV 56 taking on Harpia. Saturday's actually my birthday.
Oh, there
Not
we go.
This Saturday, next Saturday, yeah.
Next Saturday. All
Yeah,
right.
next Saturday, the 19th.
What? How many miles you got in the tank there?
33. Another year closer to death.
33,000 miles. All right. There you go, man. Adding it up.
Yeah, it's happening. So that'll be the birthday stream. Again, Tuesday, Outer Haven against TAW Wolfpack. Thursday, Grim Reapers taking on Phoenix Task Force. And then birthday stream Saturday, ECV 56 Condor versus Harpia. If you guys haven't already, make sure, and you have any interest in a BFM tournament, make sure you type !FFH to get the Fight for Honor details. Link is in the description there, or you can head over to the ED forums, check out the tournament section, and sign up there. I think it's on Givergy. There should be a link detailed in that thread. I'm going to send us out with the trailer for Fight for Honor. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Another quick reminder is tomorrow we're doing the first Wheels Up stream with Beaver, and we're going to go over some stuff. We're going to talk a lot about the G restrictions in Fight for Honor. We're going to talk about hardware. We're going to go over all the TAC views again. So if you want to join us, that will be taking off at midnight Zulu or 7 p.m. Central Time. But that's all I got. Partner, we made it. Billy, welcome back. Hopefully we'll see you again Tuesday.
Yes,
construction workers need to get out of your hair.
Yeah,
that's all I got.
We'll see what goes on there. But yeah, I'm assuming I'll be here Tuesday. It's definitely been a lot less, so let's hope for the better there.
So, guys, that's all I got. Have a good one. Stay safe in those virtual skies. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.
See you.